Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear students, I am Miss Nosheen Zaidi, your social studies teacher with you with Unit 4 and last topic. Our today's topic title is The Future of Omani Tourism Visions and Challenges. Under this topic, we are going to study what is the future of Omani tourism, what is their visions and plans and strategies, and what are the challenges faced by the Omani tourist industry in this regard. Before proceeding to my lesson, I would like to thank Mr. Yunus Rabi, our school's chairman, for providing this excellent opportunity through this platform for us to teach. Let's see that what are the objectives of today's lesson. By the end of the lesson, you are expected to know what is the national strategy of government in building sustainable tourism in Oman. What is Ministry of Tourism efforts right now to enhance the role of private sector in tourism development? What are the future projects in the Sultanate to attract tourists? What is human resource development in tourism sector? How it is being carried out? The preservation of Omani culture and identity for the sustainable tourism and challenges which are faced by Omani tourism industry. Some of the terminologies contained in the lessons are sustainable tourism, an archaeological site, and museum. Now, first of all, we will discuss what is sustainable tourism. Sustainable tourism is an activity that can be done without harming the environment and keeping the environment integrity intact to provide economic and social enhancement enrichment to live in the present and save all your natural sceneries and your richness of your environment for the future generations. Sustainable tourism activity can be sustained because it leads to a net benefit to other environments as well. Now, what is the archaeological site? An archaeological site is a place which is no longer inhabited. They are actually the remains of human activities, ancient human activities, places and cities with the time span they buried inside the earth, and the people and scientists which are called archaeologists dig those sites, identify those sites with the help of their scientific instruments, and dig those sites and make them visible to the eyes of the world. So these archaeological sites is actually, you know, tells us about the ancient nations, their living styles, their economic activities, and all things about them. So we study those nations through these archaeological sites. These archaeological sites is also a main factor in tourism sector because people want to study and to look when they visit to another country what type of archaeological sites are there so they can learn about the ancient history and ancient civilizations. Then the third term is museum. Museum is, as you know, you might have known that, and you might have seen the museum as well. That museum is a permanent institution or an organization, a place where which is perform the service of the community by preserving all the artifacts which are which belongs to the national identity and which belongs to the different archaeological sites, like different sites which when the archaeologists dig these sites they found different artifacts which are kept in the museums. National strategy and future vision of tourism, Omani tourism 2020. Now in this, Oman has made a national strategy. We will discuss it in detail, that what is their steps and strategies and what is this strategy aims at. The government has made strategic plan for the tourism sector since 1990 that were updated in 1995 according to those plans which are aimed at benefiting from the cultural and environmental components of tourism development. Number 2, they are aimed at preparing a marketing strategy for this sector for tourism development. They are making Oman a tourist attraction in the region and the world. They are aimed at to make Oman more attractive in the eyes of the world. Then it is based on, or it is aimed on objective are to raise the contribution of tourism of a sector GDP to 3%. They want to increase the revenue generated from the tourism sector to 3%, increasing the percentage of national manpower in the sector by 80%. And Omanization is also necessary in this sector. They are focusing on Omanization, reaching a target of 80% in this sector, where the Omani workforce will work 80%. National strategy and future vision for Omani tourism. Again, the Ministry of Tourism has started to develop a database of all natural, environmental, cultural, and heritage elements of Oman. They are acquiring, you know, all, sites data, and they are keeping, it's in a database. They are maintaining a data, especially archaeological sites, cultural sites, museums, as well as other elements. And this data will be provided to the tourists for their attractions to attract them towards Oman. Now, it is a table of economic indicators of the performance of 6 5-year plan for the year from year 2000 to 2003. As we know, the tourism industry is a major industry in Oman. After fishing industry, tourism and oil industry, the tourism sector also generate a big revenue for Oman, especially in the Dhofar region, and especially because there is diversified natural environment present in Oman. So we will just see, according to this chart, we have, these areas are indicated, which we need to study. Value added sector in million real is increased to 3.8% growth rate. From it was in 2054, but now with the span and time, with the increased tourism activities, it has reached to 60%. Now, relative contribution of the sector of GDP is rose to 0.6 to 0.7%, and the 0.7% is as per the statistics of 2003. Now these statistics show us a bigger picture, that where we can see the tourism development is being carried out, and tourism is a major industry which can produce and generate a lot of revenue for Oman. Hotel revenues in millions, 42 million, then it came then it became 44, and the increase is 42 to 44. Then in 2001 it was the highest, but in 2003 a slightest decline is there. Then number of hotels are there. How many numbers of hotel? In 2000, 100 hotels were there. Now in 2003, 133 hotels. Like 10% increase is there now. Number of rooms, average, like 100 to 115, then it went to 124. Then from 124 it rose to now 133. That means that this indicates that hotels are growing in their number, from 2000 as compared to 2000. Now they are growing as their need is growing as well. Like a lot of tourists are visiting Oman, and they need these facilities to stay, hotel facilities. Then number of rooms of only 710, but now the number of rooms are, in 2003 we see that number of rooms increased to 887. That is 6.8%. Then hotel guests thousands were, in thousands were 833,000. Then it rose to, like 7.7%. Then total sector employment also, in 2000 it was 42, then it raised to 45 in 2001. But now it is decline, a slightless decline is there. We can see in 2003, which is 39%. So occupancy rate is also increased, like for 4,683. Sorry, this is 4.6%. Okay, Omani workers 10.9%, and then it was actually, it rose to 1,818 in 2003 from 1,557 in 2001. Now it has been raised to 1,818, 6% overall increase, annual growth rate. Left, okay, okay. So this is data. This chart is actually from the source is the Ministry of National Economy. The role of private sector in tourism development. As we know that not only government is sufficient to provide all the tourism activities and tourism development, but it is a bilateral effort. Any country needs the social, the nationals and the social, the masses contribution to their development as well. Any sector can only develop with the help of the national, the masses as well. So we can see the future of vision of developing and building the national tourism industry was based on assigning the main role in the development process to the private sector. They want the maximum private contribution in tourism sector. So to develop this industry, though attracting foreign capital to invest in this sector and activating the role of private sector in this regard, foreign capital to invest, like all the Omanis who needs to do businesses, they can start a business related to the tourism industry, and they should. The ministry and tourism companies started to hold courses and workshop for in this regard to train them to develop the performance of their employees, especially in the field of tourism marketing. So how to market tourism, meeting with regional companies to benefit from their expertise. A number of tourist representation offices were set up outside the sultanates to promote tourism in France, Britain, Netherlands, Germany, Austria, and Dubai. Enhancing the role of private sector in tourism development. Some of the government actions and implementations are they are providing to enhance the role of private sector soft loans to the private sector for the establishment of tourism projects which amounted to about 112 million Omani Riyal during the period from 2001 to 2004. They they continue to support tourism projects in order to create a tourism industry that is well developed and keep pace with the modern trends. They are contributing to development of infrastructure for tourism, activating the cooperation between private tourist institutions and Ministry of Tourism. The seventh five-year plan is developed to facilitate in the inflow of foreign investment to set up giant tourism projects of 850 million Real Omani. Seventh five-year plan is developed to facilitate this sector, which has allocated the giant tourism projects will be carried out, will be made of 850 million Royal Omani will be invested in this sector to build different tourist attractions. The private sector started to develop a balanced investment program in the tourism sector until 2010. The role of private sector, we can see two mega projects in this regard, which is the role which is the demonstration of this role. Practical demonstrations are the Blue City project is one of the largest tourism and development projects in the Arabian Gulf region. It aims to build a city in phases at Al Sawadi beach in Barka at a cost of 15 billion US dollars and an area of 34 kilometers and accommodates 200,000 people. The second project, which is a world famous project, this project has, up until now, won in 2018, up until 2018, this project has won eight world awards in designing. The role of private sector in tourism projects, wave tourism projects is a name, it's a big name in the world market. And as I told you that this project alone for designing, in the designing sector, they won 8th award, 8. The tourism project on the beach, on the sea beach is, with a 6 kilometers long natural beach, is the first integrated residential project in the Sultanate, one of the most prominent residential projects in the Middle Governorate, where the foreigners can come and buy and the land and they can live because of the state of the art facilities present in this project. The role of the private sector in tourism development. Again, recent development is the Sultanate government body responsible for investing in tourism has partnered with the Egyptian Tourism Development Company or ESCOM to form Muria, a joint venture that will spearhead Oman's tourism development. As the Sultanate looks to become a world class tourism destination, some $650 million to 50 million Omani Riyal has already been used to fund this venture. This is the upcoming project. Now, what are the benefits from tourism sector? Tourism sector involves sectors that need intensive labor to carry out the activities works in related sector of this purpose. 7-year plan, which I already discussed, is put into an action aiming at benefiting from the development of the national workforce and raising the percentage of Omanization to 50%. Under this plan, the Omanization will be raised and Omani people will be employed, and this figure of 50% should this target of 50% will be achieved, where the annual growth rate of national employment was raised to 14% in year 2004 alone. Domestic institutions, the Domestic Omani Academy, there are two institutions, the Omani Academy of Tourism and Hospitality. This institution is based in Muscat and it trains national cadres to work in the tourism sector in agreement with Austria. Then another department is there, which is Department of Tourism Faculty of Arts, opened in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences to study the science of tourism and related, and grants a bachelor's degree. So we can, the people and the students can have a bachelor's degree in tourism sector. Was the graduation of the first batch of this section in 2005. Since 2005, this Department of Tourism Faculty of Arts has been producing, excellent students, excellent professionals with a bachelor's degree in tourism to serve the tourism industry. Human resource development in tourism sector. Now we will talk about the human resource development by tourism sector and what the ministry is doing in this regard. The ministry and tourism companies started to hold courses. By their joint efforts, they started to hold courses and workshops to develop the performance of their employees, especially in the field of tourism marketing, and meet with regional companies to benefit from their expertise. Netherlands, Germany, Australia, and Dubai. A number of tourist representation offices were set up outside the Sultanate to promote tourism in France and Britain. So, in France and Britain, because the world tourism activities, a major or a large number of tourists go to the Britain and France, and they come from the Britain and US as well. And France is also a very heightened tourist place with the Eiffel Tower and all the attractions all around the world. The preservation of Omani identity for sustainable tourism. As I told you that Omanization is related to to increase the job opportunities for Omanis. The other sector is how to preserve your national identity and tourism identity, not to mix up or not to lose it in the tourism process. We have to Oman has realized that it has its own culture and national identity, which is very lucrative and attractive to the foreign tourists. So its role to activate the areas of communication, revitalize heritage and culture by promoting and preserving traditional crafts. They are conducting, many exhibitions in this regard, order to preserve the social environment and cultural values of Oman. The establishment of a number of cultural events in some archaeological sites. Now, the preservation of Omani identity for sustainable tourism. Several national achievements have been achieved in this area. We will see how further we have to go and what achievements we have achieved, what success we have right now in this area. Setting up a mechanism to ensure the approval of the specification before the approval of the establishment of tourism projects. Then they set up a mechanism to ensure the approval of specification before the approval of establishment of these projects. They need then organize a number of tourist awareness programs. They are working to organize, the tourist awareness programs in the fields of workers, where they are trained, they are being aware, made aware of different strategies, different, you know, upcoming trends, so they can upgrade themselves according to the current need. The region held up by tourism projects in order to provide job opportunities. According to the environmental tourism projects in some archaeological sites, taking into account regional balance in the development of beautiful sites. Environmental tourism projects in some archaeological sites, they want to, develop the beautiful sites for attraction and to build and to work in these areas. Now we'll see what are the challenges for Omani tourism sector. Intensifying competition in the global tourist market. You know that there are regions which are rich with tourist attractions, and like Far East Asia, many people visit now US and United States, and then Britain, Europe. This Europe and especially Far East Asia, we have already started in previous presentations in school. I have already taught you that the world tourist regions are in competition with each other. Especially Oman is also in a competition from this world tourist regions. So it's because they are intensifying competition in the global tourist market, and the entry of many developing countries are there into this market. So they are developing countries are working hard in this regard to attract to build new tourist attractions. So need of diversification of Omani tourist products and sites and attraction is there. They continuously need to build and to focus on new archaeological and new attraction sites to build, to construct, to attract the other tourists from all over the world. The Arabian Gulf region have been heavily targeted in recent years, which requires now because of the Islamic identity. Now people are becoming aware of Islam and the culture of Islam, and the Arabian culture has been very rich through ages. So people are now with the acknowledgement of Islam being so attractive and being an answer for the world problems. Especially now they want to experience this in at first hand. For this reason alone, the Arabian Gulf region have been heavily targeted in recent years, which requires development of the services in this sector. So, if the excellent services and excellent infrastructure will be there, excellent communication services will be there, so the tourists will attract and tourists will come without having any second thoughts. Then the Arabian region, Gulf region have been heavily targeted, and development of the services in this sector and raising its quality of services, which I already discussed. Increase in the cost of flights for faraway countries. Yeah, because faraway countries, when we want to go, the fares are very high, and it is you know a problem for the tourists to consider, or that they want to travel to this country. So tourist market like Europe, North America and Japan, cost of flight is more to the faraway countries especially, and from vice versa from their countries to the one as well. The political fluctuation in West Asia and the Arabian Gulf region, that affects tourism and call for security and stability. Political instability especially in the neighboring countries of Oman and West Asia also, and the Arabian Gulf region. As you know that some conflicts are going on in Yemen and other neighboring countries, which are what to say, a hindrance in the Omani tourism industry to flourish, because people, when the tourists are coming, they want to have peace and security prevailing. But all over the world also, people only visit those countries which are sound, stable and secure. as well as we talk about the internal condition and domestic condition of Oman. Oman has been the safest and securest place, but Oman cannot change its neighbors, and that's why the neighbors have the conflicts which can affect the Omani tourism industries as well. Okay, in spite of these challenges, the vision of the future in 2020 has taken care of this sector and took into account all the previous challenges and worked to face and overcome them. Challenges for Omani tourism is lack of awareness of citizens, how to benefit from the tourism sector. This is the first thing. So the Oman has to, or the government has to work in this area to the maximum to train citizens how to benefit from the tourism. Lack of tourist sites for services and infrastructure. We still need to compete like with the neighboring countries like United Arab Emirates in the number of infrastructure and services and number of attractions also. So these are some of the challenges in 2020 because of some world global changes in disease. This first, this will say tourism industry uh, is actually at halt right now. Tourism is at halt right now, but inshallah, in the future, we'll see that it will again with the normal, with the world environment, and the situation will get normal. We will see the increase, and we will meet our target strategies, and I will meet our plans and target for the tourism industry and to develop, and development targets and goals will be met inshallah. So let's hope for the best, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson. This is the end of the lesson. We have studied about the challenges, about the condition which is faced by tourism industry in Oman, and what is the role of private sector and how they can help in this regard. So thank you for being with me. Inshallah, we'll start the new unit number 5, lesson number 1. So tomorrow I'll be with you with another lesson. Thank you for now.